Here's how to turn the most beautiful piece of Wagyu into a Wagyu katsu sando. It all starts with the beef. I'm using Japanese A5 Wagyu strip loins. These ones here came straight from Japan, and you can see how incredible all that marbling is. I mean, just look at my hands. I've barely even held one, and all that fat is already starting to melt. Not so important for the recipe, but it's really cool to see that high quality Wagyu always comes with its own certificate. But I'll let you look at this on your own time. As a first step, we'll trim our beef. We want to trim them into a perfect square, and technically, there's no right or wrong answer with how big that square needs to be, just as long as it's as perfect a square as you can possibly cut. Also, if you are lucky enough to get your hands on some Wagyu like this, take a moment to appreciate it. I think it's one of the most beautiful natural art pieces anywhere in the world. The moment you finish trimming, toss these immediately into the fridge. They need to stay cool. Then take all of your Wagyu fat scraps and toss them into a pot. These I'll melt down over low heat to toast our bread in later. While our trimmed Wagyu cools, we're gonna make what's called shokupan. It's this fluffy, pillowy Japanese milk bread, and it is amazing. And to make it, we combine water, milk, and flour into a pot, then whisk until fully combined, and once no lumps remain, turn the heat to low and whisk. Don't stop whisking either. Make sure you're constantly hitting every possible corner of the pan to make sure nothing sits for too long in one place, and you'll gradually start to see it thicken up. The second you see streaks forming in the bottom of your pan, move it off the heat and scrape it straight into a bowl. This right here is what will make our bread really soft. While that cools, we'll continue making our bread dough by adding some bread flour, milk powder, sugar, salt, whole milk, 1 egg, and melted butter into the bowl of a stand mixer. By now, this should be cool enough that we can add some active dry yeast and give it a good mix to combine. After about 5 minutes, it should double in size, and if you listen carefully, you should hear little pops and crackles. Add this to your mixing bowl along with all the other ingredients, then mix on medium speed for about 15 minutes. Once your dough is soft and squishy, shape it into a nice tight ball, then fully coat a large bowl with butter, drop it in, cover with plastic wrap, and let it rise in a warm spot for 1.5 to 2 hours. Punch this down just to remove some of the extra air, then divide this into 3 even pieces using a scale if you want to be extra precise, which I highly recommend when it comes to baking. Then shape each ball into a nice even rectangle, fold them all up to create layers, press them all out again back into rectangles, then roll them all up into logs and fit them gently, all laying next to each other, into a buttered shokupan pan. Once it's fully risen at room temperature, brush the whole thing with milk, but be gentle and don't damage the top of your bread. Then slide on the cover and lock it in place. This cover forces the bread to bake into a square instead of rounded at the top. This will go into the oven to bake while we prepare everything else. Next, we're going to make our tonkatsu sauce, which is basically a really flavorful Japanese steak sauce. Into a medium pot, grate 1 whole peeled apple, 1 whole onion. This one will make you cry, but it's worth it for the flavors you're about to experience. Then microplane a few cloves of garlic, some fresh peeled ginger, then some soy sauce, mirin, rice vinegar, brown sugar, some ketchup and Dijon mustard, and Worcestershire sauce. Cook this over medium-low, stirring occasionally until it's thickened up and looks something like this. Transfer to a heat-proof blender and blend until smooth, and once you've pushed it through a strainer, you've got your sauce. It might seem weird to think that you're making some kind of barbecue sauce out of apple, but that sweet and sour balance really works. By now, our bread has finished baking, so it's time for the first moment of truth in this video. Once we've waited about 10 minutes for it to cool, we can flip it over, and voila. What I love so much about milk bread is how soft and springy it is. I'll cut a few even slices now so that the only thing left is to make our beef. What I'm about to make now is called my dredging station. In the first one, regular all-purpose flour. In the second, a few whole eggs, which I'll whisk until fully combined. We don't want any streaks of white or yellow remaining. It should be completely even. And in the third, Japanese panko breadcrumbs. Before I handle the Wagyu this time, I'll put 2 sets of gloves on each hand so it doesn't melt. Just before dredging, I'll season the beef on all sides with salt, and only salt so we can preserve the natural flavor of the beef. Now it's time to dredge. First into the flour, getting it completely coated and dusting off any excess. Then into the egg, dripping off any excess there as well. And finally into the panko, the part that gives us that really nice crispy light crust. Once these have all been fully coated, let them sit for 10 to 15 minutes before frying. When frying, I'll very gradually ease my Wagyu into the oil, and I'm even going to use not 1 but 2 spiders to move it around as it cooks. We want to be as delicate as possible here. It'll be completely normal for it to not look like a perfect square anymore, and that's okay. It's common to trim it to perfection just before eating. I'll fry the others in the exact same way, and now that I've gotten comfortable with the oil temperature there, I'm gonna grab this beautiful pot of that rendered Wagyu fat from earlier, add a few spoonfuls to a clean pan, and then begin toasting one side of my milk bread. While picking up that Wagyu fat flavor, we're also gonna get one side of the bread that's beautifully golden brown and has a great crispy texture. My second piece is done, so I'll pull that, hit it with some salt, and continue the same process. What I'm doing right now is a perfect representation of one of the things I love about cooking. I like having lots of things going on at once. I'm checking the temperature while trying to cook the perfect steak over here. Then I'm trying to get my bread perfect golden brown, which that looks good. And overall, just moving fast to make sure nothing goes wrong. These are the moments that make me feel like I'm back working in a kitchen. The biggest thing going through my mind right now is that at the end of this video, none of us are going to be able to agree whether or not it's perfect or it's raw or it's rare. I've always had a dream that one day I could cook a steak so perfect that we could all just agree. But the fact is, I like my steaks medium, and most of you probably like yours medium rare. This is it, the big moment we've all been waiting for. I'll paint both toasted sides of our bread with our homemade tonkatsu sauce. Not too much, just enough to give that nice layer of seasoning. Then I'll add on my beef, place on the lid, trim off all the edges. I can already tell it's gonna be good. And then slice it open. My hands are shaking, I'll admit it, because this just might be the biggest moment of truth we've ever had on this channel. Yes. I get more excited to cut these open than I do beef Wellingtons. They're beautiful, they're pure luxury, and they're so much fun to make. The coolest thing, watch what happens to the bread when I bite it. It compresses down and becomes beautifully chewy. As for the actual flavor, it's insanely tender. It's almost too juicy. Try this for the first time, and it will be a life-changing bite.